Now that goes live.
उर्वेश जी इन्होंने निकलना है so do you think audio visual
I
is
just came from the wedding.
audio visual
So you want to clean up a little bit, just go and clean up. Yeah, nice. So I move this. You can use it as your DJ table. DJ something like master of ceremony. BCMC. Microphone is long enough there, sir. If you can sit there and see if the volume comes right for you. Because some people will play with it and then.
Does it work? That works.
Go ahead, say something. Say something.
Hello. 1, 2, 3. Test. Test. Jai Shri Krishna.
ये आपको वो दे दूं?
नहीं चलेगा. I'm fine. I don't need to read. इतना छोटा सा. I can hear very well.
नहीं मेरे पास वो भी है वो जो headset.
अरे उसकी जरूरत नहीं लगती. मेरे पास छोटा माइक्रोफोन है वायरलेस. If you want to connect, वो हम लगा देते हैं.
वो भी वायरलेस है.
हाँ तो नहीं रहने दो. नहीं. अभी हम
इसी की बदल रही है.
एक सेकंड.
ये एक मिनट है
एक सेकंड.
I want to hear it both ways, the microphone and with your wireless.
ठीक है. तो आई थिंक माइक्रोफोन में कैमरा में लगा दो. मुझे वहाँ यूज करना होगा. I want to record the audio quality on the camera. I'll put it there.
Okay.
So we will leave this one as is. हमारे पास वायरलेस माइक्रोफोन है, अगर वो लगा सकते हैं तो एक्स्ट्रा लोगों का
उसी की बात करो.
हाँ, वो बॉक्स है बोला. श्योर का जो बॉक्स पीछे पड़ा है उसमें है.
ये वाला
हाँ उसके अंदर है. तो इसके लिए केबल मेरे पास यहाँ पर है. If you need extra cables, we can do that.
this looks good
This is, we can swap the cameras, audience in this if we want to.
right now
It's set up. We can use the cell phone to swap it and do that. So this looks good, yeah?
yeah
Very nice.
Why is it on?
तुझे email link भेजा. I'll do it. Automatically.
हरिओम हरिओम. We'll have a better plan next time.
No, definitely. And I will also be back. This time I was busy.
No, I was at a wedding and इसको अगर पावर लगाने को लगा रही है इसके साथ ये so this should work. It only if you turn it on, right? On किया नहीं है.
This is good.
On नहीं किया बड़ा.
Power on automatic. I like on. Yeah, man.
हरिओम. जय श्री राम. हरिओम. 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 जय श्री राम. I think this is better. Jai Shri Ram. I'm trying to give you some gain. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Rajan. He wanted a mic. Where is the other mic? अच्छा सर, ये आप ले लो,
ठीक
ये आपका है.
अच्छा
So whoever is doing the balancing, number 3 is yours.
यस
ठीक है?
परफेक्ट
And तो ये कैसे रहेगा प्रोपोजल, कैसे?
बस इंट्रोडक्शन आप करो
हाँ.
एंड आई स्टार्ट विल स्टार्ट नो वेस्ट
So run his volume is not
Naveen,
three.
you can keep this phone with the name on it. You can mute the camera as you want. We're just recording on one camera.
Wired. Stay right here then. Take
I
the
just
wire.
hit a backup, but I
Take
don't
the wire.
have the operator.
Take the wire.
Yes, sir.
Moving means like audio means
No, just
And then
I'll
get the
sit on
third
the chair
wireless,
here.
sir.
Once I move the chair, just check the angle.
For the
You want to
questions,
take a little bit back, or is it perfect? Yes.
ये इनको होगा.
Initially, when I sit on the chair, I'll sit here,
इनको
but then
होगा.
be visible.
okay.
But I'll just stand.
इसके
I'll just
बहुत
stand.
सारे.
He said that.
Maybe I will move it little back side.
Do that.
Okay.
Perfect.
It will cover more.
Good.
ये आपका मुझे ये अब जो आपको वायरलेस चाहिए, आपको जो लोगों को देना है क्वेश्चन आंसर के लिए,
Do you need some chair here?
Yes, we'll take one chair. Anything is fine.
बस ठीक है, मैं शुरू करता हूँ. All that.
मेरा छोटा इंट्रोडक्शन कर दूँ. Yes.
चलेगा.
हाँ बिल्कुल. That's
चाहिए.
perfect. That's perfect.
एक वो चीज
Wait, did you get those books? The on the back sheet?
Yeah.
The one that I wrote?
Yeah.
Put that on, where are they?
It's in the back.
No, put it on the table. Those books we can put on the table and bring me one copy.
Okay.
It has some introduction. Thank you so much.
सर आप एक बारी अपना देख लो.
वो books बाहर निकाल सकते हैं. We can put it
I
on.
only brought one copy.
No, bring all of them.
Jai Shri Ram, Hari Om. This is working.
Jai Shri Ram, Hari Om.
क्या there was a little lag to it. One more time, please.
Jai Shri Ram.
Something happened.
Jai Shri Ram.
Something is lag.
Yeah. Jai Shri Ram. Jai Shri Ram. Jai Shri Ram. Okay.
ठीक है राजन, good go.
Jai Shri Ram, Hari Om. We are going to start the program. I was expecting a lot more audience, but hopefully they will trickle in as we go. This program is being brought to you by Sri Raghunath Temple. Sri Raghunath Temple, as you know, started in 2018. February 18, we did the inauguration. Since then, we have progressed immensely. And part of that is with the partnerships of different organizations and different gurus, Mahatmas. Today's program is a very unique program where we have Gita Pravachan being dispensed by a very unique person who I'm going to introduce right now. He is a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, practicing CEO, Mr. Purvesh Thakkar.
Yes.
Please welcome. Mahesh Thakkar is his dad. So let me first speak a little bit about him. and then I'll talk about the uniqueness of this program, this platform. Mr. Pravesh is a very professionally accomplished, worked in several Fortune 500 companies in several roles over last 25 years. Our father, a meditator and a CEO of multi-million-dollar real estate company. So this is the underpinning, the underlying foundational aspect that I want to highlight, which is very unique in the way we are presenting this program, where a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company who's doing that as a worldly responsibility, very successful. At the same time, he's also adorned as a Swami, doing meditation and Adhyatmic discourses and balancing both of them together really well. So that becomes a prime example, a great example for our young generation born brought up over here, who constantly question that they've been either listening to preachers who have given up the world and purely dedicated their lives to sadhana, Adhyatmic life. And that is necessary also in a different sense, because it has its own place. But there are very few examples in this world which have balanced both aspects of spiritual life, meditation, to a point that they have read several, I'll talk mainly about Mr. Pravesh and then switch to his Adhyatmic part. While he's been doing his normal daily work as a CEO, and you can imagine CEO is such a big responsibility, he's found time to read and learn 6 different translations of Gita, from different scholars, different priests, pundits, and then summarize that and taken the essence of that into his personal life. And that is why I really admire him, where he's balancing the learnings of Gita, bringing it to his daily worldly responsibilities, and every setback or lesson learned on the worldly CEO life, he's taking the inspiration back from Gita. So he's really a great example for our youth from the aspect of how to balance both aspects and still continue the responsibilities in both areas. So that to me was very attractive for us to join hands with him from Sri Raghunath Temple, and together we have this platform where we want to continue this relationship. So coming back to Mr. Pravesh, the CEO, he's owner of one of the largest media conglomerates, founder of Osho Universal, and member of several not-for-profit organizations. Actively running multiple businesses and an Osho ashram, Osho Cavalier Dham in Denison, Texas. If you haven't been there, it's a 200-acre property over there where he's done an excellent job in creating that Osho Dham. He had a vision to build 108 Osho retreat centers and spiritual wellness centers across America to uplift human consciousness and help with holistic wellness of mind, body, and soul, and to bring like-minded people to come and live together and grow in inner journey or of aloneness. These are some heavy words over here. He'll explain those, but I can understand the mission he is embarked on. I don't want to go into details of that because the purpose of this forum is today different. He has established a not-for-profit 501c3 for the same Mediative Mindfulness Inc. So that's about his CEO journey and a little bit about his Adhyatmic spiritual journey. So please welcome Mr. Pravesh Thakur as a CEO and Swami Prem Maitreya as a Swami. He's been adorned with that title from the Osho lineage. So please, a round of applause, and I'll turn over to him for continuing the lecture.
Yes, I'll use this mic for a second, right before I go and sit there and talk about Bhagavad
Yeah,
Gita.
he's right now as a CEO.
Yes. So as a CEO working in Fortune 500 companies, I started my career in 2000, early 2000. I worked for Microsoft, I worked for JP Morgan Chase in hedge fund division, and I worked in several companies that you might have heard, Texas Instrument, Baylor Health, and several other corporations like that, until I moved into family business. My family and us, we own the largest radio network of Dallas, Phanesia Network. So we are owners of Phanesia, and I'm CEO for Thakkar Developers. We are doing some of the largest development on Highway 121, one at Alma at 121, that is about $1 billion development. And on the right side in Plano, there's Mustang Square at Razor and 121. That's 36 acres. And we are doing the project up in New York, which is another $1 billion project in Times Square in Manhattan. So this just summarizes the gist. Numbers, why I mentioned that here is because it's easy for a lot of us to relate to those numbers when it's talked about. After having all that, as Rajanji mentioned, my attraction and inclination of spirituality was started when I was 15, but after having all this success, it became more so. Yeah. Generally, I have seen it otherwise. People are spiritually inclined because they want some success in life. But once they get it, they forget about it. But for me, it worked the other way around. More I got it, more I became spiritually inclined. Because what happened was, I realized that every achievement, every success in the world is not taking me any closer to inner satisfaction. Unless I meditate. The success that comes with awareness and meditation definitely gives me that balance, composure, and greater joy and satisfaction. But anytime that success came without my awareness, it brought more pain and suffering. Because my ego went bigger. I hurt people with my ego and rather hurt myself also with the ego. Ego is like a thorn that you keep poking to others. When you hug somebody, if you have too much thorns on your body, other will not enjoy the hug. It's like, man, this far he goes away better, quicker, sooner he leaves. That's how it happens. But through meditation, I would not say completely, but to very high extent, I was able to keep that in check. It's like weed control in your grass. Right? If you don't keep it in check, only weeds will remain. Grass will not be visible. If you put right amount of cleaning in your yard, then you will have that clarity to see and make it a nicer yard. Same way, our heart and our minds are our sacred things which require lot of awareness and care to make them beautiful, to make them nice, to make them joyful for yourself. I'm not talking for others, because I'm not concerned about others. I'm only concerned about you personally or me personally. Personally, you should be joyful with your state of being, your mind, your heart, your body. If you are joyful, the side effect of it will be your joy will create that fragrance around you, fragrance of love, fragrance of acceptance, fragrance of joy, and people will start coming towards you, right? People who are able to enjoy that purity, they will be attracted. So it's very important not to chase the goal that I want good people in my life or good things in my life. I should be focused on managing this better so this becomes joyful and enjoyable for myself. As soon as you are enjoying this mind-body complex, automatically the vibrations will change. And automatically people who are nagging, dragging, they will leave. They will not be able to stand it. Either they will become jealous, they'll get upset, they'll get angry and leave. Or they will start transforming also. They will ask you, hey, how? How come you are so happy all the time? Things are not going well. Things are going south. Why are you so still happy? So that is a awareness that needs to be cultivated. But to bring that awareness, first what we need? We need to understand that we have lack of it. So right now we are in a state, we think we have everything and we are perfect as we are. Which is okay. Start there. And start analyzing, are we really, do we have everything that makes us joyful? Or is there something missing? If at all we are suffering, feeling the pain, having some sadness, if we are not enthusiastic, not laughing, in the morning, enjoying every part of the day, then something is wrong with you. If we are not happy, then understand. It's just like in a body, if there is some pain, we go to doctor and get it checked. Same way, if we are not feeling good inside, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, too many thoughts, too much going on, that only tells me that something is wrong with the faculty of our being. That faculty needs attention. That faculty needs more care. And that is why we have this event today, to explain the similar state of mess that Arjuna was in. We'll talk about that right after. But right now I wanted to highlight some of the aspects of both come together. Your spiritual awareness helps you become better at material world. Remember, it is never against the world. It does happen that when you become a little bit more inclined spiritually or meditative, attraction of material world drops. Whereas many times, priests or people who have not experienced both sides, they might say that you give up the world so that you can become spiritual. It is absolutely wrong way to look at life. If you give up the world, you will never become spiritual. But side effect of becoming spiritual, you may lose grip on the world. That can happen. So important thing, don't be in rush to give up the world or pleasures of the world or experiences of life. Krishna never said that also. We'll talk about that as we go in. He never recommended that also, and he never practiced it also. He lived his life with all the, I would not even call them responsibility. Responsibility is negative. Enjoying every aspect of life. He had a girlfriend, he had a wife, then he had kids, and then he was also learned meditator. Then he had knowledge of enlightenment. And he had many skills that we even just think about having, we can't even imagine. That's the reason he is considered, हमारे ग्रंथों में उन्हें कहा गया पूर्ण अवतार कहा गया. उन्होंने किसी भी चीज को नकारा नहीं. Not one focused. It's multidimensionally focused on every aspect of life. So that is where I would like to leave, and I would like to go and change and come in my meditation dress to come and give this talk to you guys, because I want it is intentionally done that way so that it makes people aware that living in the world is not against becoming meditative. To become enlightened and to experience samadhi, you don't need to leave your wife or your husband or give up your material cars. You don't need to do any of that. Right here, and I'm living example of that, as Rajanji mentioned, that I'm living example. I have not left anything, but I have experienced the very heights of spirituality. But that's not the topic of today. Some point we'll talk about that. And if you're interested, rather than talking about my experience, I would give you techniques for you to experience the heights. My experience will not help you. Only me saying I have experience gives you confidence that you also can experience. Remember that much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce.
I'll be right back in a second.
Yeah. So the way we had planned this was that he'll be a CEO for the first 5-10 minutes, and then he'll come back into the other avatar, which is his Swami Sarup, for the Gita Shlokam chanting and explaining that in the real sense is how both were balanced together for him to experience what he just mentioned about the peace, the blissful life, along with carrying on his material and worldly actions. While we have a break, just want to quickly talk about Sri Raghunath Temple. Sri Raghunath Temple, as I said, we started in 2018. This is a rented place. We have back hall over here in the front temple. Our theme is neighborhood temple for children to immerse in Hindu culture. That's the motivation with which this temple was brought up. And we have done, our focus has been children. Why? Because, I have 2 daughters who are now working, but all along their journey, they had always questioned, our religious practices, our, comparison between the other religions around that. And if you find, in other religions, they have a very set pattern in how they do things. And one of the advantages is that the children, as they are brought up over there, they make sure they are in their own language. They understand it through the entire childhood, their own language, and they do all that. So the biggest gap over here was we have our priests and all chantings and everything happening in Sanskrit or Hindi, and it became very difficult for them to understand that and relate to that. So we have been trying to do things here at Sri Raghunath Temple where it will be motivational and encouraging for children to immerse in our Hindu culture. And this program today is going to be in English, and that is one of the reasons that we think it will be very attractive for the children because they can understand what is going on. So we have our Swami Prem Maitreya here now. So we'll turn it over to him to continue the series of Gita in practical sense of material life. So I would say please welcome Swami Prem Maitreya.
Before we start talking about Bhagavad Gita or the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, I would like to start with a small prayer. With us, we have Mark Osho Preet. She is going to talk and start with a chanting of Divine Feminine Saraswati. So कोई भी ज्ञान लेने से पहले, before we start and delve into receiving some knowledge, it's good to open our heart towards that receptivity, open our mind to inquire, not necessarily believe. So whatever I'm going to say, don't believe, try to analyze with your intellect, try to understand it. If it does not make sense, don't be in rush to believe and say, no, this is what he said, so it must be right. I want you to be intellectually analyzing it. You can ask me if I have made a mistake in saying that, if it's conflicting with your experience and understanding. I will validate it, I will rethink it. And if not, I will say, keep it. This is my experience. Some point, if you meditate, you become aware, it might become your experience also. But before we go into that, we'll start with this prayer. And I would like everybody to close their eyes. And Ma Osho Preet, sorry, her name has recently been changed, so I wanted to make sure I say the right name. So why don't you go ahead and recite that mantra for us? That's an invocation of Saraswati.
Hello everyone.
थोड़ा echo.
या कुमुदेन्दु तुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्मच्युतशङ्कर प्रभृतिभिः देवहि सदा वन्दिता सा मा पातु सरस्वती भगवती निशेषजाड्यापहा. Thank you.
Thank you. So with this, we will try to go into Bhagavad Gita. I'll explain you how we will be doing this. So we are clear. Bhagavad Gita has been spoken in Sanskrit. So Ma will speak the Sanskrit slokas I have created selections of sloka for her to speak, and then our friend Poojan here will translate it in English. He will speak in English, and then I will give my commentaries. So first, literally what has been said by Lord Sri Krishna, and then literal translation of that in English, and then interpretation and explanation of it. Yeah, we will do that. But before we start the shlokas and chanting, little bit of backdrop of Bhagavad Gita should be understood. Over last couple of weeks, I met many friends and I was asking them, what is Bhagavad Gita for them? What is their understanding of Bhagavad Gita? Few told me it is a religious book. Few told me, one person told me that it is a book where you learn how to live your life, what to do, what not to do. Few told me, is it even, so some people when I asked them that is this Bhagavad Gita really spoken by Sri Krishna or not, they thought it was a mythology. They didn't even understand that it is a history of one of the world's most populous democracies today. It is the historic event of Mahabharata in which this particular conversation happens. So first I would like to correct or maybe clarify a few items. Bhagavad Gita is not a spiritual teaching book from the sense like other books are. See, many books like Upanishads that are mentioned in the Vedas, those are the books where Upanishads were written in Gurukul, where Guru was sitting and teaching. Student went there to learn. They spent years and one sloka of Upanishad would come. Realization will happen to disciples. Oh, this is how it is. Tattvamasi. I am that. It is not. And then other books like Patanjali Yoga Sutra. They are the books collected and compiled to teach certain method and way of life. Particularly intended with that intention. This is a technique, meditate this way, do this yoga, this pranayam. That is how it was created with intent with student coming and asking questions. Other aspect is Buddhism, books of Buddhism. They are all Buddha's teachings, four-fold path and then eightfold answer, four truths of the life. Buddha said, 4 आर्य सत्य है जीवन के. फिर बुद्ध ने कहा कि इसके 8-fold path है, 8-fold path is there through which you can become enlightened. Again, very systematically. But Bhagavad Gita is not a book like that. Krishna is not a guru in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna does not look at Krishna as a guru or even God. Most important understanding. Krishna, when Arjuna looked at Krishna, he did not think of him as a God or as a guru. Arjuna and Krishna were cousins and they were friends. Yes, he respected him in many ways, being clear in his mind, calm, focused, understanding, learned, wise man. Arjuna never, in the beginning you will listen, he never addresses Krishna that way. Until after certain chapters in Bhagavad Gita where he realizes, oh, one who I thought was my friend is also entire existence in himself. He is the founder. And when Krishna said that, we'll go into that in later chapters. That's the 11th chapter when it happens in Bhagavad Gita. So considering that fact, understand this is a conversation between two friends. Not to learn any spiritual aspect of life. It is only in confusion, in desperate frustration, desperate anxiety, in desperate attachment. Arjuna asks for help. And when he asks for help, Krishna starts talking to him as a friend. And the way Krishna starts explaining, he catches the root of the problem, not the branches of the problem. The problem of a root of all our problems lies deep inside of us, where we think we exist. Our current thinking of our existence is the root of all our problems in life. If we clearly understand who we are, where we come from, what are we made up of, that very day, all your problems inside will disappear. Outside, you'll have to still work. You're living in the world, but inner conflicts will disappear. You'll have to maintain that clarity in us. You will not be confused anymore. With that, I will give a little bit more background of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita starts when right before the Mahabharata battle took place. This battle happened about 5,000 years ago in the area called Kurukshetra in northern India. Historic battle, millions of people died. It was just like, maybe you can call it a First World War. World War happened at that time. Mahabharata was a world war of that time. 5,000 years ago, First World War happened. If you do the calendar, is set right, First World War was 5,000 some years ago. After that, second happened and the third happened. Fourth has not yet happened. And if fourth happens, it will be worse than the First World War. In First World War, millions of people died. And in that time, the population was so less, millions dying is not the same as millions dying today. The population of the world at that time would have been less than 100 million people or something like that. And out of that 10 million people, like 10% population vanished from the planet. And also all young youth who can fight. We cannot draft older people in the war today also. The same thing was that time. All youngsters and some elderly people were there. Wise people or generals in the war. So right before the war is supposed to start, about in 20 minutes, less than 20 minutes, this conversation happens. Entire Bhagavad Gita. You see, collection of Bhagavad Gita by commentary by Osho on Bhagavad Gita is that big. One book is missing in it. There's one more book over there. So. And that entire thing happened in 20 minutes. I'll explain in the science also. Very scientifically we'll go about it. I don't want you to believe anything just because. So now, before I go into that, I would like Ma to recite the first words of Bhagavad Gita as we start, and then we will go into translation. Pujan will translate it for us, and then I will go ahead and give you commentary. Ma, can you speak on the first words?
Yes. धृतराष्ट्र उवाच धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेता युयुत्सवः मामकाः पाण्डवैश्च किं कुर्वत् संजय.
You can come up here,
Okay, I'm going to take the mic.
please.
Hello. It's working. So the translation is, Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, what did my sons and the sons of Pandu do when desiring to fight? They gathered on the sacred field of Kurukshetra?
Yes. So, Dhritarashtra is blind. He is a blind father of 100 psychologically blind sons. Yeah. Dhritarashtra is physically blind. Definitely he is psychologically blind also. But his sons, 100 sons, were also psychologically blind. But having said that, we have to be aware we all are in some sense blind psychologically. We all strive to get clarity in the life. But people, the sons of Dhritarashtra, were so blind that instead of getting clarity and trying to seek for clarity, they sought for war. They said, no, we know what we are doing, we are correct. After being warned many times, made aware many times, many attempts were made to make them aware that whatever you are asking is not right, whatever you are doing is not right. You should not do those things. Krishna himself went to meet them to find a diplomatic solution. But he couldn't convince Duryodhana for the diplomatic solution. He asked for small favor, give me some land for Pandavas and we will call off the war. We don't want to fight the war and create mass destruction. Krishna went for that. And Duryodhana kicked him out, tried to make him a slave inside the jail. But he couldn't do it. So now the blind men, most or all of our knowledge or spirituality or anywhere comes with the inquiry of the blindness. When we feel confused, when we feel blinded by many things inside of us, that is when first time we look for clarity in life. Now Dhritarashtra was physically blind and Sanjay is narrating Mahabharata to Dhritarashtra. Now remember Kurukshetra and Hastinapur, the palace where they are sitting, there is a big distance between them. More than few hundred, about 50, maybe 100 miles, somewhat like that. How is Sanjay narrating to Dhritarashtra? That is the biggest question, fundamental question raised on Bhagavad Gita. Or everybody have raised question on Bhagavad Gita. Westerners and everybody who came to try to understand Bhagavad Gita, they question Sanjay. How was he able to see so far? How was he able to hear so far? Only logical or illogical explanation given by many Hindu translators or hardcore believers say, oh, he had a Divya Drashti तो वो देख पाता था. अब दिव्य दृष्टि का कोई साइंटिफिक प्रूफ नहीं दे पाते जो मैं आज आपको दूंगा. I'll give you the scientific proof of today's day and age how Sanjay was able to see far away. So first, eliminating doubts is very important, because once the doubts are eliminated, we can give full trust that this happened. And once we can trust something happened, then we can take some benefit out of it. Today, there is a doubt, really this happened or not? Was it correct or not? Is it rightly transcribed or not? So Sanjay had an ability to see far away, sitting anywhere. There was a blessing given to him with certain sadhana or by certain sage. That okay, you will be able to see and narrate the whole war and battlefield to Dhritarashtra because he is blind. And how did that happen? We have to become aware of something, some interesting, important concept for that. Nowadays, scientifically also, this is being proven. It is called clairvoyance. Clairvoyance is ability of fourth energy center of human being. Any human being with certain sadhana and practice, if it activates the energy in the heart center, along your spinal cord there are 7 centers of energy. It is nothing spiritual about it from one aspect of being religious or being liberated from attachments. But yes, it is spiritual from the sense it's not physical in nature. Right? If you meditate and bring your energy to your heart, you can develop the ability to see far away. There happened a person in last century in America who was born here His name is Ted Serio. His document last century he happened. He's historically documented, well-known person. If you look up online, he had ability. He was not any religious person by any matter, not आध्यात्मिक आदमी नहीं था, वो धार्मिक भी नहीं था, spiritual भी नहीं था. He was not spiritual, not religious man, but he was somehow from birth he had this ability to see far away. He will sit here today and he will close his eyes and he can see what's happening in Manhattan Times Square right now. And he can literally tell you who is sitting, who is standing, what they are doing. And not only that, when he opened his eyes, in his eyes was a reflection of what he was seeing in Manhattan. And photographs of his eyes are taken, 1,000+ photographs, where he is looking at Germany from here and his eyes has a captured reflection of that particular lake or person standing in front. And that book is available online. So I'm not making this up. So it is possible in this generation that a person happened like this. So it is possible in past day also. And today I'm saying that many saints and monks come. They try to prove you by certain ability to move things or say, I can see what's in your house sitting here. It's nothing. It's very common. If kids are trained from today onwards, if we decide that we encourage them to learn certain course in school to activate the psychic ability in the heart center, but then they will be able to do that. Every kid will know all this. This is no magic. There is no spiritual progress. It is rather this becomes contributed to spiritual downfall. Because when you have a superhuman ability, you will try to prove others are lower than me. Your ego will become bigger. So anyone who tries to prove himself to be greater, spiritual teacher or master by showing this kind of performances, I call them, should be looked down upon, not respected or prayed to. Unless he is using it for betterment of humanity, that's okay. At least he is doing something good with this power and ability he has developed. But if he is trying to prove I am spiritual and you are not, for any reason, because he has that ability, it should be not attended to. He is biggest idiot. He will never be spiritually enlightened. Rather, he will go downfall of his own life. So that is the clarity first, that it is possible to see. Then there is a syndrome called musical ear syndrome. This was kind of discovered earlier in World War II time frame. There was a person who fell down or ran into an accident. And when accident happened, his head got hurt. This is in Sweden, I think. This is in Sweden. And there he was operated, but when he came to the senses after surgery and everything, when he came to him, he was able to hear some music in his ears. And he's like, what is going on? This song, somebody is playing some song next door. Can they shut off the music? I don't want to hear it. Then doctor came and said, there's no music, whole hospital, everything is shut down. There's no music speakers here. Okay, I'm hearing this song. But doctor said, I heard this song while coming in my car. It was going on the radio. So, our human body has certain capabilities which are innate normally. But accidentally they can be invoked. The same way, consciously also can be invoked with certain practice of meditation. You can hear far away. So clairvoyance or ability to hear far is a human capability which can be developed. I will give you another example. My own niece, when I went to Gujarat, Ahmedabad, a few years ago, she was like 10 years old. She closed her eyes, put all the folds and everything, and I gave her my license. She was able to read everything with the closed eyes, with the covered eyes. And she said, this is nothing special. She was attending a school over there in India. There were hundreds of students learning the same art. It's not only me, everybody is learning it. They teach them how to read with closed eyes. So remember, the questioning that was done on Bhagavad Gita up till now is put to rest forever. That it is possible by human development of certain energies, you can do this. You can see far away. If you can see with the closed eyes right in front of you, I think it's a little more effort. You can see far away also. There's no problem. The whole idea is And today we have cameras and cell phones that can do that. So you don't need to develop those abilities. Without having to do meditation or spiritual practice, you are able to do video calling just by clicking. I can see what's going on. Cameras can be put up live. So first let's put that to rest. Having that put to rest, now Sanjay starts saying, Dhritarashtra is asking a question. A blind man asking a question with deep desire to know what is happening in the battlefield of Mahabharata. So remember, one thing is very clear. A lot of people are like people like Surdas or many saints, they become against the bodily senses. Becoming against bodily senses, they think they will get rid of desires. Surdas poked his eyes with a candle and became blind because one time he saw one young girl and certain lustful desire came in his mind. So he poked his eyes. I wish Surdas would have known that Dhritarashtra was blind. Still he had desire to go and see what's happening in battlefield. He would have not poked his eyes. You see, he's an idiot from that perspective. Excuse my language, but it is sheer stupidity thinking that if I don't have eyes, I will not have lust to see. In fact, it will be more because your now mind will become imaginatory. It will not see real things, it will imagine whatever it wants to, and desire will become even more. So people who are hurting their senses or trying to, there have been traditions in the world where people have cut their sex organs just to get rid of sexual desire. I call them sheer stupids and idiots. That is not going to give you any spiritual progress. Bursting the eye is not going to make you lose the desire of seeing, or cutting spiritual organs is not going to lift you out from sexual desires or lustful desires. Only way, let me take the word back. Not only, the way that one can become aware and grow beyond certain compulsive behaviors, lustful behaviors, is going to be through your understanding, through your practice of awareness, through your again and again experiencing with awareness. And Krishna Bhagavan goes in to explain that into Bhagavad Gita, how many different paths exist to become aware of that. That which is without lust, that which makes you free from all desires, that which makes you free from all suffering of life, because suffering is when you live in mind in confusion. What is the way to go beyond mind and transcending it is what many paths to transcend it, not one. Bhagavad Gita almost encompasses every path categorically, I would say. Categorically, Bhagavad Gita has every possible way to transcend or enhance human consciousness. The next thing I would just clarify, it is also said that whatever is in Mahabharata, it's nowhere in the whole world. If it is not in Mahabharata, it's not in the world. And then it is said that whatever is in entire Mahabharata is all in Bhagavad Gita. If it is not in Bhagavad Gita, it's not even in the Mahabharata. But then the natural question will come to mind, Gita is a just collection, this was Mahabharata, this bigger book in volume. How come? And then world, there are thousands and millions of libraries, how come everything is just in Mahabharata? Not in that sense. But understand it this way, that ocean has water. If I take one drop of water from ocean, go to laboratory and understand what chemical components it has, I have understood the whole ocean. Correct? In that sense. So if I understand one drop of ocean, I understand the entire ocean. Same way, if you understand how to know yourself through help of Bhagavad Gita, you have understood everything in the world. And in Bhagavad Gita, there is a whole gist of it. How many different ways of understanding yourself are there, knowing yourself are there. How many ways of, I say yourself, or you can say God. I don't like to use the word God very often because it has been corrupted. In name of God, we have been exploited too much sometimes. In name of God, we have been lied to and made afraid and scared too much sometimes. Nowadays we are evolving. We are becoming loving towards God through the different effort, but not scary. Because people have become intelligent. The religious places are becoming run by intelligent people, smarter people, slowly. I see that, and they are evolving. So that's the important aspect to know. God, knowing God, definitely places like temples, places could have been a great help. But sometimes those institutions become corrupted. Again, with the same tendencies of life, the lust, the money, the power, all those things corrupt every institution in general. Even spiritual institutions get corrupted when master leaves. So one has to be aware of that. With that, if I have removed any doubts on written understanding of Bhagavad Gita and how it happened, in doubts of it being real conversation between Arjun and Krishna. One last doubt I will clarify. This Bhagavad Gita, even if we have normal conversation, can take 2 hours to read just without any kind of dialogue. But still, Bhagavad Gita happened when? There are two aspects to understand. Krishna had all the knowledge all the time. He didn't suddenly become enlightened in battlefield of Bhagavad Gita, battlefield of Mahabharata. He was already aware of all the knowledge, supreme knowledge that one can imagine. Understanding knowledge or experience or his divinity he was aware of. Let's put it that way. But why did he not talk about that knowledge before? And how did it happen within 20 minutes? I'll explain you. It happened in 20 minutes. I'll explain it that. Where it started is important to know. But that I will leave for further slokas when it comes in. I'll talk about that as it starts. So further, I would like for our team here, Maha to read in Sanskrit and then Pujan, then you can do in English. So read the next set of slokas of Bhagavad Gita in Sanskrit. Then I'll make further comments. Go ahead. Ma, you can go ahead and read the other group of second group of slokas.
संजय उवाच दृष्ट्वा तु पाण्डवानीकं व्यूढं दुर्योधनस्तदा आचार्यमुपसंगम्य राजा वचनमब्रवीत् पश्येता पाण्डुपुत्राणां माचार्यमहितं चमुं व्यूढां द्रुपदपुत्रेण त्वशिष्येण धीमता अत्र शूरा महेश्वासा भीमार्जुनः स्म युयुधानो विराटश्च द्रुपदश्च महारथः धृष्टकेतुश्चेकितानः काशीराजश्च वीर्यवान् पुरुजित्कुन्तिभोजश्च शेषश्च नरपुङ्गव युधामनुश्च विक्रान्त उत्तमोजाश्च वीर्यवान् सौभद्रो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्वे एव महारथाः अस्माकं तु विशिष्टता ये तानि बोध दिव्यज्योतं नायका मम सैन्यस्य संघार्थं तान् ब्रवीमीति भवामश्च समिति संजय स्ततेव च अन्ये च बहवः शूरा मदर्थे तयकज्जीविताः नानाशस्त्रप्रहरणाः सर्वे युद्धविशारदाः अपर्याप्तं तदस्माकं बलं भीष्माभिरक्षितं पर्याप्तं त्विदमेतेषां बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम् अन्येषु च सर्वेषु यथा भागमस्विता भीष्मामेवाभिरक्षन्तु भवन्तः सर्व एव हि. Thank you.
This is the second set of slokas. You can translate for us.
Go ahead. Shouldn't do it. Go ahead.
Sanjaya said, after seeing the Pandava army in battle formation, King Duryodhana approached his teacher, Dronacharya, and spoke these words. O my teacher, behold this mighty army of the sons of Pandu, arranged in battle formation by your talented disciple, the son of Drupada. In this army are heroic archers equal to Bhima and Arjuna in battle, such as Yuyudhana, Virata, and the great warrior Drupada. There are also the valiant Drishtaketu, Chegitana, the brave king of Kashi, Purujit, Kuntiboja, and the best of the men, Saibya. The heroic Yudhamanyu, the mighty Uttamojas, the son of Subhadra, and the sons of Draupadi. All of them are great chariot warriors. But know, O best of the twice born, who are the most distinguished amongst us, I will name the commanders of my army for your information. You, Bhishma, Karna, and Kripa, the victor in battle, as well as Ashwatthama, Vikarna, and the son of Somadatta. And many other heroes are ready to give up their lives for my sake. They are all equipped with various weapons and are skilled in warfare. Our army, protected by Bhishma, is immense and invincible, while their army, protected by Bhima, is limited. Therefore, all of you standing in your respective positions must now support and protect Bhishma.
So see, very important thing. Now we go to background. That this day, this particular conversation is started right now. We are going into background still. This is the battle happening between 500,000 people standing on one side, another half standing on the other side. At a time, maybe 1 million people on each side going to kill each other today. At that very time, understand this scene in front of your eyes. That two families who have divided the world into two sides. Kings who support one side, Pandavas, and other side, kings who support Duryodhana, because of their allegiance of different kind to the Hastinapur. They have gathered on one side, other side have gathered about few million people on this side. On the battlefield, every day certain number of people will come and they will fight the wars, and majority of them will die. Next day again, new batch of people will come and fight again. It was a big army. War was done in tranches. Soldiers will come again. The injured were removed and dead were cremated. And the new soldiers will come and fight the battle. Right before the battle is supposed to start, Duryodhana, when Dhritarashtra asked the question to Sanjay, Sanjay is explaining what is happening on the battlefield. Where sons of Dhritarashtra and sons of Pandu, the elder brother of Dhritarashtra, Pandu being elder brother of Dhritarashtra, they both have assembled army against each other to kill each other. When he asked, what are they doing? Tell me, O Sanjay, what are they doing? So Sanjay goes on to say, as we are about to start the battle, your son Duryodhana is saying these things. What is he saying? He is saying to his, and who is he saying to? He is saying to his own teacher, Guru Dronacharya, that, O Guru, see, he starts with praising the opponent, or at least acknowledging who is there in opponent's side ready to battle with me. So understand, one thing is good about Duryodhana, he is not suffering from inferiority complex of any kind. Many times good people suffering with complex will mess up the life worse than the person who is not suffering from complex. So Duryodhana is not suffering from any complex of inferiority, that I am weaker and try to justify. He says, look on the other side. There are Pandu, Putras, this son of Pandu, Bhim, Yudhishthira, and others. They have assembled and they are great warriors. They are great warriors led by Bhim. At the end he is saying, they are led by Bhim, he is in the center over there. He should be paid more attention to. And their Senapati was Bhishma. They're not led by Bhim, but the Bhim is a key opponent on their side, who we should pay attention to. And on this side, Bhishma is leading the battle. So we should keep an eye and protect Bhishma, who is a Senapati of that thing. But he does not mention the name of any key person in Pandava Sena other than Bhim. He says Bhim is the one who is going to lead this battle. No, he is not a Senapati. He will lead it. Why? Because Bhim had made a vow that he will kill 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. Every one of them, because they insulted his wife in certain way. If you know story of Mahabharata, they had insulted the wife of Pandavas, Draupadi, and that time he had vowed that he will kill all these people. But remember, Duryodhana didn't think. Now we look at it, saying Krishna and Arjuna fought the battle of Mahabharata, but when battle was starting, nobody, Duryodhana himself, who is a key opponent king of the Kaurava, he never thought Arjuna is going to be fighting the battle against him. After fact, we can see that, oh, Arjuna did this, Arjuna did that. But battle at beginning of Mahabharata, it was only thought that Bhima will fight the battle. We have to protect ourselves from him. He is the one who is very hard-headed and he is ready to fight as he was. Nobody would have ever trusted that Arjuna will fight the battle and because of him they will win the war of Mahabharata. That was never even thought about. At the most they thought he will fight Karna, and Karna was out of battle. Then initially when first day of Mahabharata, Karna was not allowed to fight. So technically they had no thought that Arjuna will even do much contribution to the battle. After fact, when you look at it, yes, looking backwards. But when it was starting, there was no idea, remote idea in anybody's mind that Arjuna is going to make them win the battle of Mahabharata. Or even fight that heavily as he did. So this clarity has to be there that Bhim was the center of the battle. Arjuna was never thought to be center of the battle as we see in today's TV shows. That's not the case. Always it was Bhim. And Duryodhana's mind also it was Bhim who was going to fight the battle and kill everyone. So he said protect all of our people from Bhim. And take care of Bhishma particularly and protect him. He is his grandfather. So again, his grandfather, he still has that respect and care for him also. He said, and he's also a leader of our whole army to protect him. Everybody in our side should protect Bhishma. That's how we looked at it. So now we go further down and read more slokas. Continue with the next set of slokas. Particularly in this sentence. Yeah, go ahead. Continue.
अस्य संजन हर्षम कुरु वृद्धः पितामह सिंहनादं विनगोचे शंखदद्मो प्रतापवान् ततः शंखाश्च भैर्यश्च पडवान् खगो मुखाः सहसेवाभ्य हनन्तय स शब्दतुमुलोऽभवत् ततः श्वेते हर्यये युर्यक्ते महति सयद्नये स्थितो माधवः पाण्डवैश्च दिव्यो शंखो प्रदद्मो पांचजन्यं हर्षिकेशो देवदत्त धनञ्जय पौण्ड्रं दध्यो महाशंखं भीमकर्मा वृकोदरः अनन्तविजयं राजा कुन्तीपुत्रो युधिष्ठिर नुकुल सहदेवश्च सुघोष्मणिपुष्पको कायश्च परमेश्वासः शिखण्डी च महारथः दृष्टद्युम्नो विराटश्च सात्यकिश्चापराजितः द्रुपदो द्रौपदेशाश्च सर्वशः पृथिवीपते सौभद्रश्च महाबाहु शंखखादन मुह पृथक पृथक सघोषो धार्त राष्ट्राम हृदयानि व्यधारत नभश्च पृथ्वी चैव तुमुलो व्यनुनादयान. Thank you.
Then the mighty grandsayer of the Kurus Bhishma, to cheer up Duryodhana, blew his conch with a great roar like a lion. At once, conches, kettle drums, cymbals, trumpets, and cowhorns sounded together, creating a tremendous roar. Then, seated in the great chariot, yoked with white horses, Lord Krishna and Arjuna also blew their divine conches. Lord Krishna blew his conch, Panchajanya, Arjuna blew his, Devadatta, and Bhima, the doer of great deeds, blew his mighty conch, Pondra. King Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, blew his conch, Ananta Vijaya, and Nakula and Sahadeva blew theirs, Sughosha and Manipushpaga. The king of Kashi, the great archer, the great warrior Shikandi, Drishtadyumna, Virata, and the unconquered Satyaki also blew their conches. O king, Drupada and the sons of Draupadi, along with the mighty armed sons of Subhadra, all blew their respective conches. The fierce sound echoed through the sky and the earth, shattering the hearts of the Kauravas.
So now the battle is about to start. Before starting the battle, there's trumpets and announcements made. And in those days, it was done through blowing the conch. Each warrior had his own conch and shank, they call it in India now. And they used that to announce that I am ready to fight. Because yelling across will not work. And planes were not there. And battle was happening face to face. Seeing million people in front of you, million people on this side. And they are ready to kill each other with their best arms. And very interesting thing, if you notice, in this, many of them, when we mentioned, there are names of conches. Each conch was named. Everyone had named their bows, arrows, and even the conches. There were names given to things. If you notice, it's very interesting that when you give name to things, suddenly you have different respect for it. If I say something is just a thing, that is just a thing. But now, if a dog is a dog until it is named. You give dog a name, it becomes part of family. So people were so aware that things also were given names. There was certain aliveness about things that was acknowledged in those times. They were given names. Today, we have become more sensitive, it will come again. Things will have names. Less sensitive we are, things will not have names. We will start respecting the things as if divine also. So to become aware of that, consciousness is required. And then initially it started from Kaurava side, and then Krishna and Arjuna blew their conch also, and they started, okay. Sanjaya says, based on listening to the sound coming from the Pandavas' army, they got a little scared on this side. We Kauravas a little scared and worried. And that's the right thing to do also strategically. Because if you see when Mahabharata battle starts, army of Pandavas is smaller than Kauravas. So, them making bigger noise will create psychological strong impact on other side. It's a very strategic move as a battle is starting to blow and create such a noise that other person's heart is shaken. So observe, the war strategy also is implemented very accurately. Those other guys had a bigger army, more warriors fighting, and they could defeat Pandavas. The sound that they made was louder, greater, and that kind of shook the hearts of Kauravas. That's what it says in here. Okay? So that's very important to register and notice. Strategies are being played from the beginning of the battle. And first conch is blew by Krishna on this side. That being the most powerful of all and most loudest of all. Otherwise, he would not have done it. He would have said somebody else do it. So that's where this is the just announcement of that. Go further down and we'll read we can do that also. We can try. I don't know if it will work. I'm not that good at blowing this much, but I can try if it works. Just for a little bit of fun. Anybody else knows how to? Why don't you do it? Why don't you do it? That's better. I'm not that good at it. And once I do it, it won't be a good idea. It's clean right now. So if you do it, that's better. Please, I appreciate that. Yes, please. This is double one.
Yeah.
Let me try to clean. I'll try. I'll clean it up and I'll try.
Because we have an example.
So like that, the sound was created. That awakened and scared. This is a very low sound. Some of them make very huge sound. And that was created to scare the shit out of the other guy. Sorry, excuse my language, but that's what it was. Correct? We say that. They scared the hell out of the other. The sounds were created on both sides. And the sound from Pandava's side was so loud that others got trembling in their chariots. That's what is said here. So now we go to the next set of slokas and I'll continue talking. Ma, you can read the next group of slokas and I'll start.
अथ व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा धार्तराष्ट्रना कपिध्वजः प्रवर्ते शस्त्र समाप्ते धनुरुभ्यं पाण्डवः ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यमिदमाह महीपते अर्जुन उवाच सेनयोरुभयो मर्जद्यते रथं स्थापय मेयच्युत यावदेतां निरीक्ष्ये अहं योद्धुकामानवस्थितान् केमर्या सह योद्धव्यमस्मिन् रणसमुख्यमे योतस्य मानान् वेक्ष्येऽहं य एतेऽत्र समागताः धार्तराष्ट्र
Did you lose the power? Oh, you mean we have to connect the power cord? Can you connect it to the... In my bag here, there is a white color power cable.
This one, right?
No, there should be my shoulder. Oh, it's in here. Inside here. Inside this room. There's नीचे सामने लैपटॉप एक पड़ा हो उसके अंदर एक पावर कोड व्हाइट कलर का और एक लंबा वायर भी है एक्सटेंशन कोड भी है तो ठीक वो लैपटॉप से या वो कनेक्ट करना कैन यू हेल्प आउट विद दैट कनेक्ट द पावर कोड टू दैट that has a splitter in there. So, उसमें splitter है the one you have it here.
Yeah, I'll have to take out something.
यहाँ लगा दो यहाँ से लंबा वायर है.
I don't know. Let me see.
So while that is an interesting story, yeah. Anybody has any questions until then I can answer. Go ahead.
So the whole fight, what do you think? Like, who should be the actual person for the throne? Like, so the one person is Idras, he's
Yes.
handicapped. He has a brother.
Yes.
His older brother. He has
Yes.
kids like Kauravas, like not Kauravas, like Pandavas, 5
Yes.
kids. They are more prominent. They know the things. Another
Yes.
person is like handicapped. He has his like son right now. End of the day, both are fighting. What do you think? Who should be the real? Like, it's just the ability, or like ancestral? Like, you know, how? What do you think about this?
See,
Yeah.
there were certain rules
Yeah.
in those times. Like today we have rules like democracy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We have a democratic government. So next king will be elected by the people.
Yeah.
People will vote and the Prime Minister will be elected. those days rule was the eldest sons, eldest brother's son will become the king.
Yeah.
If he is not fit for certain way, then the one junior after that.
Correct.
Yeah, so like that was the rule. So by the rules of the book,
Yeah.
the Yudhishthira was supposed to be the king.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But I mean, kids are fighting.
So now, just because of that, fight is not warranted. Just because of the rules and not following even the rules of book, fighting will not be good. As we go covering Bhagavad Gita further down, we will cover some of those topics. But importantly is that why should, initially when I was talking, the blind was Dhritarashtra and blind were his sons psychologically. When I said that why? They wanted to become king for what? You have to know what you want to do when you want to run a country or run a place. Only reason they wanted to become king was because I'm entitled to. They did not have any good vision for the country. You look at it, when you see the acts they did, if you know the story of Mahabharata, the way they acted, it portrays their character. And somebody with such a lowly character running the country will not necessarily help the country. It will hurt only. Do something as low grade as trying to have your own brother's wife come and cousin's wife and trying to declothe her in front of so many people just because she said something to insult me. Such an ego which has no ability to discriminate between what is the boundary of right to action of penalty versus what is not, is such an idiot. Yeah? So think about it, looking at their lifestyle and trying to strategize constantly to kill people, Pandavas, from very childhood, instead of having the courage and valor to fight them. In those days, if you want kingdom, if you want to marry someone, there were ways to do that. Today, if I want to go ahead and own a country, conquering is a way to do it. You go battle, conquer it. There are two ways of conquering. One way of conquering is physically, through the arms and killing people, and through fear. Second is through love. When you conquer somebody's heart, not only you have conquered the land, but you have also conquered the real country. The real conquering does not happen through the force and fear. Real conquering does not happen through nuclear bombs or the missiles. Real conquering happens through your heart on the other person's heart. His heart is surrendered willfully. Other wants to willfully be with you under your guidance and under your leadership. They want to live. Yeah? That is the real conquering. Whereas Duryodhana didn't even want to. And then again, if you don't want to real conquering, another way was to fight at least your strength. I am strong, I will win you. Come fight me in the battleground. Rather, what I have seen in the story of Mahabharata, Kauravas from very childhood were trying to get rid of Pandavas in one way or the other. They tried to poison them, they tried to burn them in Lakshagra. They were constantly trying roundabout way instead of going open heart and fight the battle. No. They'll say, no, I'll go behind the doors and try to kill them so I can get it. They were being very, very ugly and undiscriminatory. विवेक का एक ही शब्द मुझे इंग्लिश में पता है, डिस्क्रिमिनेशन. तो बिना विवेक के वो कर रहे थे अपना काम. तो उनका जीतना, अगर वो जीत जाते और वो दुनिया चलाते, तो आज हमारे ज़माने में हम स्त्रियों को इसी एंगल से देखते जिस एंगल से द्रौपदी को उन्होंने देखा था. उनका कोई सम्मान ही नहीं होता. एक स्त्री को 5 पतियों के साथ शादी करनी पड़ती और एक स्त्री का कपड़े उतारने का चलन होता. अगर वो सुनती नहीं है तो उसको मारपीट करने का चलन होता. अगर आज कौरव जीते होते तो क्यों नहीं है कि देखो एक ऐसा अपमान हुआ है, इतने सारों को मरना पड़ा. ये भी एक सेंस लाता है. दिस इज नॉट द राइट थिंग टू डू. सो your question is very valid question. Who is the right person should have won? So you have to be analytical about it. Look at the lifestyle of two groups of people. One group is living certain way, and other group is lived certain way in certain respect. Then you make a decision who should have won.
But the elder one, who's the elder? The handicapped one or his brother right now?
I don't know the details about that, but most probably Pandu was younger. Pandu was younger. But Dhritarashtra was elder, but he was blind.
Exactly. So he's like little handicapped right now.
The handicapped person cannot become the king. That was the
Exactly.
rule.
Not fit for the position.
Not fit.
Yeah.
That's the reason younger became the king, and then after that his son's oldest had to become. Can we turn on the laptop? Press the button. It will take a second. It will take a second. Yeah, just press it once, and you might turn on. Yep, that is all. I'll connect it. I'll just connect the computer. Give us a second, we'll have to go back into Zoom again.
Recording in progress.
Good, that's good. See, yeah. You can continue reading, it got interrupted in between. You can continue reading, we got interrupted in between because of the power outage and that. You can continue reading the third set of slokas. Did you hear that? Yeah, she can hear that. Yeah, fourth set of slokas, yes. Ma, could you hear us or no? We cannot hear you.
Yes.
Good, you can start. There you go. It's a good question. But
अर्थव्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा धार्तराष्ट्रं कपिध्वजः प्रवर्ते शस्त्र समाप्ते धनुर्विद्यं पाण्डवः ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यमिदमाह महीपते अर्जुन उवाच सेनयो रुद्भर्यो मध्ये रथं स्थापय मेच्युत यावदेतान्निरीक्षेऽहं योद्धुकामानवस्थितान् केरम्या सह योद्धव्यमस्मिन् रणमुख्य मे योतस्य मानान् वेहेष्यम् एतेऽत्र समागताः धार्तराष्ट्रस्य दुर्बुद्धे युरुद्धे प्रिय चिकीर्षवः संजय उवाच एवमुक्तो ऋषिकेशो गुडाकेशेन भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम्. Thank you.
Now, upon seeing the Kauravas in their ranks, as the battle was about to begin, Arjuna, whose flag was the symbol of Hanuman, raised his bow. O King, Arjuna then spoke these words to Lord Krishna, O infallible one, please place my chariot between the two armies, so that I may see who is standing here, eager to fight, and with whom I must do battle in this war. I want to observe those who have gathered here to fight, intending to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Sanjaya said, O descendant of Partha, having been addressed thus by Arjuna, Lord Krishna placed the excellent chariot between the two armies.
This is very important. This is very important. Now we are at the point where real Gita starts. About to start. It's still not started. Still not going to start for a few more slokas. Real Gita Sar will start now. Up till now it was just a background. What was the scene? Millions of people ready to fight with elephants, horses, their arms, their nuclear bombs of those times. Everything was ready. White war was about to begin. And this big, one of the prominent warriors of Pandava army, one of the 5 brothers, is asking his companion and chariot rider, who is Sri Krishna himself, saying that, "Oh Sri Krishna, take me to the middle of the battlefield where I can see who am I fighting, who is it opposing me. I want to see them and observe." See, one who is ready to fight does not want to observe anything. He just wants to start shooting. Correct? One who wants to kill does not want to see who am I killing. He's like, hey, shoot him. I don't want to know more about them. Less I know, easy to kill. If I know that guy is married, he has a kid, he has a wife, it will be hard to kill. So Arjuna, in this very first statement, is already showing his weakness and doubts. He is not worth trusting for the battle. He is not someone who can be trusted. He might just run away. He is already saying in his first very sentence that asking that, hey Krishna, I want to go and see who am I fighting, who I want to observe. And Sri Krishna just listens to him, takes him in the middle of middle of the battlefield between the 2 teams where they are standing, right in the middle, where Arjuna asked specifically, I want to be at the position or the spot where I can see everyone, every key person in opponent's army. I want to see that. Can you take me there? Krishna, being as wise and very clear-minded, takes him right there in the middle, and they stand there. Let's go to the next sloka. Before you go there, let me read one more thing. So, you will see this carried forward in entire Gita. This dilemma of Arjuna, which he has explained in this first verse of Gita itself, that how and why this is supposed to happen. Why should I fight? Why should I kill people? How is it the right thing to do or not? So, now they have came in right in the middle of the battlefield. They are standing there. Krishna is on the chariot with the 4 white horses, beautiful horses, very, very well prepared chariot with Hanuman's emblem on top of the flag, resembling the spiritual presence of Hanuman on that particular chariot. And Arjuna standing in the back, or the greatest warrior of the time, with all his arms. Chariot is taken there. Go ahead and read the next slokas, and I'll give you some very, very, very important communication after that. Go ahead.
भीष्म द्रोण प्रमुखतः सर्वेषां च महीक्षिताम् उवाच पार्थ पश्येतान् समवेतान् कुरुनिति तत्रा पश्य स्थितान् पार्थः पितृनत पितामहान् आचार्य न मातुलतान् भ्राता न पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखींस्तथा शूद्रा सूर्यदेवस्य सेनयोरुभयोरपि तान् समीक्ष्य स कौन्तेयः सर्वान् बन्धून् विस्थितान् कृपया पर्याविष्टो विषिस्त्रिदं ब्रवीत अर्जुन उवाच दृष्ट्वेम स्वजनं कृष्ण युयुत्सुं समुपतिस्थितं सीदन्ति मम गात्राणि मुखं च परिशुष्यति वेपयुक्त शरीरे मे रोमहर्षश्च जायते गाण्डीव संसस्ते हस्तात्वकवैश्च परिध्यते न च शक्नोस्थं स्थातुं भ्रमतीव च मे मनः निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशव न च श्रेयो अनुपश्यामि हत्वा स्वजनं माहवे. Thank you.
In front of Bhishma, Drona, and all the kings, Krishna said, O Partha, behold these Kurus assembled here. Then Arjuna saw standing there his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, and friends. He also saw his father-in-laws and well-wishers in both armies. Seeing all these relatives present, Arjuna, the son of Kunti, became deeply sorrowful. Overwhelmed with great compassion and dejection, he spoke, O Krishna, seeing my kinsmen here, eager to fight, my limbs feel weak, my mouth is dry, my body shivers, and my hair stands on end. The Gandiva bow is slipping from my hand, and my skin feels hot. I am unable to stand still, and my mind seems to be reeling. O Keshav, I see bad omens, and I see no good in killing my own kinsmen in battle.
This is where Arjuna the translation that we have used somewhat to make it, there's one error in translation. This is where most people make mistake in translation. And they don't know the minor difference between compassion and pity. Sanjay here says, Daya ke bhav se, with the pity, he is saying it. Where this Google translates into compassion. And most people make this error. Most every version of Bhagavad Gita says that. And there is a very big difference between compassion and pity. दया और करुणा में बहुत फर्क है. अर्जुन करुणा से नहीं भरा था, अर्जुन दया से भरा. दया बाहर की स्थिति से ट्रिगर हो सकती है. A pity can be triggered under the pressure from external situation. It cannot exist without that. But compassion can be a state of your being. It can exist without anything happening outside. I can be compassionate even empty, alone sitting, let the energy of compassion going around me. It is something that comes from inside. It is not something that is triggered from outside. So there is a very minor difference, and daya किसी को अच्छी नहीं लगती. And daya is a symbol of being egoistic. अहंकारी मन दयापूर्ण हो सकता है, whereas निरहंकारी आदमी ही करुणामय हो सकता है. हमने हमारे परमात्मा को हमारी कई आरतियों में, कई कीर्तनों में करुणा निधि कहते हैं. परमात्मा को करुणा निधि कहा, या माता जी को भी हम करुणावान कहते हैं. तो करुणा की महिमा है, दया की कोई महिमा नहीं है. जैसे ही अर्जुन, और फिर अर्जुन कहता है उसे डर लग रहा है कि अपने ही लोग, अपने ही प्रियजन, एक तरफ मेरे ही साले भतीजे खड़े, दूसरी तरफ मेरे ही पुत्र और सब खड़े, इस तरफ दूसरी तरफ दूर के मेरे चचेरे भाई, मेरे दादा, मेरे पापा के दादा भीष्म खड़े, मेरे गुरु खड़े. इन लोगों को मारने का ख्याल कि मेरे हाथ से मेरा धनुष छूटा जा रहा है. एंड हाउ विल आई फाइट? See, this is the Arjuna state of being. Now I will clarify one more thing here. This longer conversation happened within 20 minutes because battle 6 बजे शुरू होनी है sunrise पे. Right before the sunrise, 20 minutes ago, this Arjuna is saying, now take me to the middle of the battlefield. They are in middle of battlefield, the Gita starts. From now to end of Gita, everything happens within 20 minutes. If I was to tell you that, you will tell me, sir, कुछ भी, anything you want us to believe, you will tell me that. क्या ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है भाई? आधे घंटे में हमें तो शुरू करने में 1 घंटा लग गया, अभी तो पहुंचे शुरुआत ही नहीं हुई, तब तो 1 घंटा हो गया ऑलरेडी. और आप कहते हो 20 मिनट में काम हो गया था. 20 नहीं, शायद 5 मिनट में हो गया था पूरा भगवद गीता. कैसे? क्या ये संभव है? हाँ, ये आज के जमाने में भी संभव है, और ऐसा हुआ है, होता है, और किया जा सकता है. आपके अनुभव में टेलीपैथी के बारे में थोड़ा नॉलेज हो, then you will understand better how this communication happened so fast. Bhagavad Gita's conversation happened telepathically between Arjuna and Krishna. I will give you some examples. There was a last century, there was a man happened named George Gurdjieff. He did this experiment. Many people have done many experiments, but I'm quoting George Gurdjieff because in his experiment were 30 people in there. And in one of those 30 people was one of the biggest scientists of the time. His name was, what was his name? P.D. Ouspensky, a mathematician and scientist of Russia. Russian. He was in Europe, and Gurdjieff was born in Russia. In this experiment, P.D. Ouspensky took part into it, and total 30 people with Gurdjieff. What was the experiment? Experiment was very simple, that nobody is supposed to speak anything for next 3 months. Not only not speak, not even acknowledge other exist. You have to live in the house, one house, closed and locked. You're not allowed to go out, do anything else. No TVs, no cell phone, nothing. No communication, and live as if you are alone inside. अगर आप चल के जा रहे हो और सामने कोई आके आप रुक गए तो भी गलती है. तुम्हें ऐसे जीना है कि कोई इंसान दूसरा यहाँ है ही नहीं. Don't acknowledge the other. Excuse करके हाँ चले जाओ, ऐसा किया. Just gesture was not allowed either. By the time 65-70 days finished, and again about P.D. Ouspensky, I will tell you something more. In Europe in those days, only 3 books were most popular books of Europe. One of them was Aristotle's Philosophy of Logic, and then there was one more, and then third book was P.D. Ouspensky's book. It was that popular, that intelligent mathematician and scientist attended the program. So I can have you validate that this happened. It is already written in P.D. Ouspensky's book. I have the book in my ashram. So if you want to read the book, the book is there also. Okay. This experiment was done. Ouspensky and other 30 people, within 60-70 days, everybody was kicked out except for 3 people, and George Gurdjieff remained. Ouspensky was one of the 3 people left. And they are sitting silently in the hall. Gurdjieff is sitting in the front with closed eyes. And suddenly everybody's eyes were closed. They were just sitting, nothing to do anyways. So almost, remember, when this happens, when you forget others, you also lose yourself. अपने अहंकार को भूलने का ये सबसे सरल रास्ता है. सब कुछ भूल जाओ, कोई है ही नहीं. हमारा होना सापेक्ष है. दूसरा है तो मैं हूँ, इसका पता हमें चल रहा है. If other exist, I exist. That's how we know ourselves. If there's nobody around you trying to say, hey, you come here, you will forget you exist also. That's the reason in ancient tradition of Hinduism or anywhere that meditation is popular, people become alone. They go to aloneness. That's the reason our ashram is also known as Osho Kaivalya Dham. Kaivalya, a place to be alone with yourself. In that aloneness, when others disappear, because when you come to ashram, no expectation of any kind from anyone. You are alone. We're not expecting anything from you. And when you are left alone with yourself, your ego disappears. In that disappearance of ego, many things can happen and manifest. Remember that. Now, Ouspensky and these 3 people are sitting, and suddenly Ouspensky hears in Gurdjieff's voice saying that, hey Ouspensky, can you hear me? He's like, damn, he is out, looks like. He opens his eyes and sees, no, his lips are not moving. But he's hearing him in his ears loud and clear. Gurdjieff is speaking again. Yes, yes, it is me talking to you. And he's like, with open eyes looking, Gurdjieff is now no lips movement, and he's listening in his ears. How is it possible? It is possible. NASA and Russian space research agencies did a lot of research on telepathic communication in 80s and 90s, particularly because they were trying to send the space shuttle and people in space. As they were preparing for that, they could not rely on the technology of communication at that time. So if you search online, you'll find a lot of research done on telepathic communication. Not only that, you yourself can have telepathic communication, experiment with you and your kids and you and your wife. How many times it has happened that you were thinking that this should be cooked and your wife has already cooked that at home? Yeah? You were about to say something, but others say, oh, मैं अभी बोलने ही वाला. तो बिना इंटेंट भी टेलीपैथिक कम्युनिकेशन हो जाता है। और इंटेंटफुल एक्सपेरिमेंट करना है तो यू कैन ट्राई दिस इन योर होम विद योर किड्स और योर वाइफ। बैठो एक कमरे में जाके दूसरे को दूसरे कमरे में कहीं भेज दो और आप अपने मन में एक शब्द दोहराने लगो, ये शब्द मुझे उस आदमी तक पहुंचाना है और उस आदमी को उस तरफ सुनने की कोशिश करनी है। तो रिसेप्टिविटी वहाँ पर है, यहाँ से कम्युनिकेट। और अगर आप बड़े ध्यानपूर्वक एकदम इंटेंसिटी से दोहराओगे इन योर माइंड, नॉट स्पीकिंग आउट, देन अदर विल स्टार्ट हियरिंग इट इन हिज ईयर्स और एटलीस्ट understand the word you are saying. These are the games you can play. We play dumb sheras many times before even another person starts. They are trying to guess the name. वो आया तुरंत नाम बोल देते सामने वाला। कई बार ऐसा होता है ना, एकदम से नाम बोल दिया, कैसे पता चल गया? ऐसे ही पता चल जाता है कि वो सोच रहा है, आया खड़ा रहा है और नाम बोल दिया सामने। Because your mind is capable to communicate without words. Words are not needed. So this is one thing. But then you see, even if it is without words, if they were standing there 2 hours in silence, what were others doing? आजू बाजू के लोग क्या कर रहे थे भाई? उनको रोका नहीं भाई, क्या कर रहे हो भाई? हमें करना है युद्ध, हम आए हैं मार काट करने के, तुम खड़े रहे बीच में आके 2 घंटे से खड़े क्या रहे हो? अरे चुप भी 2 लोग बैठे तो बोले पागल हो गए कि हटाओ इनको यहाँ से, हमें युद्ध करने आए। और अगर बोला बोली हुई होती तो आजू बाजू के लोग भी सुनते, वो भी पूछने आ जाते कि हमें भी बताओ यार क्या क्या ज्ञान बढ़ रहा है यहाँ पर, हमें भी बताओ। बट इट डिडंट हैपन वर्बली, सो दैट इज क्लियर। Because if it was happening verbally and everybody was listening, they would ask questions. Then the women would come tell me also what's going on. क्या बातें चल रही तुम दोनों के बीच में? युधिष्ठिर तो एटलीस्ट आ ही जाता, और कोई सामने से नहीं आता, तो युधिष्ठिर तो चला जाता पूछने कि क्या कर रहे हो, हमें चालू करना है युद्ध। तो बड़ा भाई है ना अर्जुन का, वो तो कहता भाई चलो हमें युद्ध करना है, यहाँ क्या खड़े खड़े कर रहे हो? बट नहीं, टेलीपैथिक कम्युनिकेशन हैज डिफरेंट स्केल ऑफ टाइम. मेंटल टाइम इज डिफरेंट versus physical time. I'll give you example of your experience. See, when you are in love with someone and you are around, अभी नया प्रेम हुआ है, उसके साथ तुम बैठे हो तो दिनों चले जाते पता नहीं चलता, घंटा चला जाता है पता नहीं 5 मिनट हुए, ऐसा लगता है अभी तो मिले थे, कहाँ जा रहे हो भाई? जब तुम्हारे प्रेमी के साथ तुम होते हो तो समय छोटा हो जाता है. आइंस्टाइन भी कहता है थियरी ऑफ रिलेटिविटी. इन रिलेटिविटी टाइम सीम्स शॉर्टर. व्हेन यू आर वेरी हैप्पी, इफ यू आर एंजॉयिंग, ऐसा लगता है यार कितना जल्दी समय चला गया. वैकेशन पे जाते हैं, वैकेशन हमेशा जल्दी खत्म हो जाता है, कितना भी लंबा हो, जब वापस आते लगता है कि जल्दी खत्म हो गया यार, कम पड़ गया वैकेशन. दैट्स अ फीलिंग, करेक्ट? वी गेट दैट फीलिंग ऑल द टाइम. अमेरिका में तो बहुत होता है, सारा 10 दिन का भी वैकेशन लेके आते हैं क्रिसमस में, लगता है जल्दी खत्म हो गया. इंडिया 1 महीना लेके आते लगता है यार इतना जल्दी टाइम चला गया, क्योंकि हम खुश थे. तो जब हम खुश होते हैं तो टाइम का मेजरमेंट बदल जाता है. सेम वे व्हेन वी आर सैड एंड डिप्रेस्ड, टाइम मेजरमेंट बिकम्स लॉन्गर. अगर कोई दुश्मन आके बैठ गया, कोई पका हुआ आदमी आके बैठ गया घर में, अरे आते यार कहाँ आ गया ये आदमी, वो 5 मिनट बैठता है, लगता है जिंदगी निकली जा रही है, कब जाएगा ये, निकलेगा कब यहाँ से. हम सब सोचते ना, हर किसी के घर में कोई ऐसी बुआ, कोई मौसी, कोई चाचा चाची, कोई तो ऐसा होता है यार, नहीं आया होता, गलत निकलने के टाइम पे आ गया, 2 घंटे बिगाड़ेगा, पर उसको हम एंजॉय नहीं करेंगे. तो टाइम इज रिलेटिव. ये एक बात. दूसरी एक कहानी बताता हूँ, 2 एग्जाम्पल और दूंगा. हाउ टाइम इज रिलेटिव इन मेंटल वर्ल्ड. मेंटल वर्ल्ड को समझना जरूरी है कि व्हेन, एंड मैं इसी टाइम पे एक और चीज बताना चाहूंगा. महावीर स्वामी जो जैन है, जैनों के लास्ट तीर्थंकर हुए, वो जब बात करते थे तो बोलते नहीं थे. उनकी वाणी को साइलेंट कम्युनिकेशन कहा जाता है. वो अपने मन से आगे के जो उनके शिष्य हैं उनको बता देते थे और वो आगे जाके बोलते थे. इफ यू रीड, उनको मुनि कहा गया है, चुप ही रहते थे, बोलते ही नहीं थे मोस्टली. महावीर स्वामी का जो भी लिखा हुआ ज्यादातर मिल रहा है वो लोगों ने बोला हुआ है. मतलब लोग यानी कि उन्हीं के डिसाइबल जो उनसे इतने डीपली कनेक्टेड थे तो उन तक बात पहुंच जाती थी और वो बोलते थे जोर से. तो इट्स वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. दिस कम्युनिकेशन इज पॉसिबल. आई हैव एक्सपीरियंस दिस कम्युनिकेशन इन माय लाइफ आल्सो, एंड यू कैन एक्सपेरिमेंट एंड एक्सपीरियंस. नाउ द टाइम स्केल वाइज हाउ इट हैपेंस फास्टर. सपोज यू क्लोज योर आईज फॉर अ सेकंड, झपकी लग गई और एकदम नींद आ गई, एक, और तुम्हें डॉक्टर की ऑफिस में बैठे हो वेटिंग रूम में. कई बार हम लोग बैठते हैं और सारा थक के गए, सुबह उठ के, तो अपॉइंटमेंट देता नहीं है, सुबह 8 बजे बुला लिया और कोई अपॉइंटमेंट भी नहीं था, 8 बजे उठने की हमारी आदत नहीं है. तो पहुंच गए और वहाँ बैठे एकदम झपकी लग जाती, आँख लग जाती. और आँख लगते हमारे दिमाग में विचार शुरू होता है, ये बेटा है 5 साल का, 10 साल का, जो भी बेटा है वो बड़ा हो रहा है, उसने गर्लफ्रेंड बनाई, गर्लफ्रेंड के साथ उसका प्रेम हुआ, प्रेम के बाद शादी हो रही है, शादी में शादी पे पुजारी एकदम से बोल रहा है कि भाई बुलाओ बेटे के माता पिता को बुलाओ और तुम्हारी आँख खुलती है। अभी तो डॉक्टर के ऑफिस में 3 मिनट ही हुए, अब 3 मिनट के अंदर आँख खुलते ही पता चलता है तुमने एक जिंदगी पूरी देख ली, जी ली, उसका बच्चे भी होने लगे, शादी भी होने लगी, प्रेम हो गया, बच्चा बड़ा भी हो गया, कॉलेज भी हो गया, सब हो गया, सब देख लेते हो, 3 मिनट भी नहीं लगे। The time scale of mental communication is different. A lot of things can happen very fast in that communication, and it has no barrier of the speech that we have. So understand this is telepathically possible. When you understand and experiment, you will see this is possible. And keeping this in mind, now listen to Bhagavad Gita. Now the conversation is starting. It could have been just Arjuna came, he stood there, वो अपने गांडी को लेके खड़ा है, उसकी घबराहट हो रही है, गांडी हाथ से छूटता है और खड़े होकर वापस रथ में बैठ जाता है। चलो, सिर्फ 4 मिनट में काम खत्म हो सकता है, पर हमें नहीं पता है इस साइलेंट कम्युनिकेशन का। सो भगवत गीता के जो समझाने वाले लोग हैं कई बार गलती कर जाते हैं। हम मैं चाहूंगा कि वो लोग भी करेक्ट करें। दिस आर द रीजंस व्हाई भगवत गीता हैपेंड इन दोस 20 मिनट्स, एंड दैट्स अ फैक्ट ऑफ इट। एंड कम्युनिकेशन वाज नॉट वोकल बिकॉज इट वाज वोकल कम्युनिकेशन। लोग कहते हैं भगवान है, कृष्ण भगवान है, उसने टाइम रोक दिया। एक क्या किसी के बाप के लिए नहीं रुका टाइम? अभी तक टाइम ऐसे ही चलता है जैसे चलता है सबके लिए। ये पृथ्वी पे जब आते हैं, भगवान भी आते हैं, तो वो इस पृथ्वी के नियम से ही चलते हैं, कोई नियम के बाहर नहीं चलता है। इस पृथ्वी के नियमों में कई चमत्कारी चीजें तुम्हें लगेगी जो तुमने अभी अनुभव नहीं की, तुम्हें लगती है। अगर तुम्हारा हार्ट चक्र ओपन हो जाता है तो तुम्हें वो चीजें तुम एक्सपीरियंस कर सकते हो। साइकिक एबिलिटीज होती है जो तुम्हें आज लगता है कि कोई आदमी बोल दे मेरे घर पे आज क्या चल रहा है, वो साइकिक एबिलिटी है। वो एबिलिटी हमने पहले भी बात की, वो डेवलप की जा सकती है। उसके एग्जांपल मैंने ये यूट्यूब का वीडियो है उसमें दिए है। जो लोग लेट आए उनके लिए आई एम जस्ट रेफरिंग दैट सो दे कैन लिसन टू इट। आई हैव गिवन ऑल साइंटिफिक एग्जांपल्स ऑफ दैट। So that is important aspect to understand. Now the Bhagavad Gita starts. It's about to start. Because up till now we have seen Sanjay is talking, Duryodhana is talking, Arjuna is talking. Krishna has not spoken a word yet. He has only done one action up till now. Took Arjuna from here to the center of the battlefield. तो अब ये moment है जहाँ भगवद गीता शुरू होने वाली है. You have to be aware and conscious. How are we on time right now? It's 12. Okay. We'll do I will try to shorten it as much I can. Next 30 minutes maybe I'll continue, or maybe 1 hour maximum. And then we'll have lunch. Lunch aa jata hai, then we'll go into that aspect of the ending the talk, and we'll have a small bhajan kirtan at that time, just to remember the divine in any form and fashion. Particularly today we are talking about Krishna, so I would like us to remember that. So now Arjuna is nervous, and nervous about what Krishna will say next sloka. I would like you to read the next sloka now. You have that? Or is it ended already?
Yeah.
You have that?
Yeah.
Good. Go to the next one. Ma, you can go next sloka in Sanskrit. Thank you very much.
न कांक्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च कीनो राज्येन गोविंद की भोगे जीर्विति वा येषामर्थे कांक्षितं नो राज्यं भोगाः सुखानि च त इमेव स्थिताः युद्धे प्राणानस्तस्य कत्वा धनानि च आचार्यः पितरः पुत्रथेव च पितामहाः मातुलाः श्वशुराः पौत्राः श्यालाः सम्बन्धी तस्तथा एतान् हतुमिच्छामि ज्ञोऽपि मधुसूदन अपि त्रैलोक्य राज्यस्य हेतोः किं नु मही कृते नित्यदातराष्ट्रन्नः का प्रीतिः स्यज्जनार्दन पापमेवाश्रयेत् स्मान् वेतानात् तानि येनः तस्मान्नर्वा वयं हस्तूनं धार्तराष्ट्रं स्वबान्धवान् स्वजनं हि कथं हत्वा सुखिनः स्याम माधव. Thank you.
O Krishna, I desire neither victory nor a kingdom or its pleasures. O Govinda, what is the use of a kingdom or of enjoyments or even life itself? The very teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, father-in-laws, grandsons, brother-in-laws, and other relatives for whose sake we desire a kingdom, enjoyments, and happiness, they are all standing here, ready to give up their lives and possessions. Even if they kill me, O Madhusudana, I do not wish to kill them, not even for the sake of the kingdom of the three worlds, let alone for this earthly kingdom. What pleasure can be ours, O Janardana, by killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Sin alone will come to us by killing these aggressors. Therefore, we should not kill our own relatives, the sons of Dhritarashtra. O Madhava, how can we be happy after killing our own kinsmen?
You should listen very carefully. Listen very attentively. You will see Arjuna is complaining about what? And this will you will see this through entire Gita. He will again and again continue. No, that's it. So he will again and again continue to do the same thing. He will keep repeating and giving arguments to Krishna. Arjuna is not a Brahman, nor does he understand what Pap and Punya very correctly is. But he is suffering because of his ego. See what he says, he is not even non-violent person. Arjuna कोई ऐसा नहीं है महावीर स्वामी की तरह उनको अहिंसा का बोध या ज्ञान है. उससे अगर ऐसा होता कि तो मुझे हिंसा नहीं करनी है कृष्ण, मैं हिंसा में नहीं बिलीव करता, मैं नहीं करना चाहता, मैं चाहता हूँ यहाँ तक भी नहीं आता. अगर अर्जुन एक अहिंसक आदमी होता तो बैटल फील्ड के मिडल तक भी नहीं आया होता. वो पहले ही कितने महीनों पहले से कहा तुम लोग लड़ो भाई, मेरा काम नहीं है, मैं अहिंसा मानने वाला हूँ, मैं हिंसा नहीं करना चाहता. अभी भी वो क्या कह रहा है, अहिंसा की बात नहीं कर रहा है, मैं उनको नहीं मारूं, अपने आप को मार दूं तो ठीक है. हिंसा खाली दूसरी तरफ मोड़ दी उसने. He has redirected the violence towards himself. He is not a non-violent being, nor is a non-violent person. His problem is, and nor he is not egoistic, nor he is silent. All he is saying is that, oh, killing my own uncles, my own relatives, even the people who have done such a wrong things, killing Dhritarashtra, even if I get the kingdom of all three lokas, how is it worth it? Will it not be sinful? Now, how beautifully he is hiding his cowardice and his egoistic mind, which is painfully suffering through attachment. देखो, अर्जुन मोह से ग्रसित है, उसे अहिंसा का कोई बोध नहीं है. Remember, Arjun is not a non-violent person. He is suffering from the attachment. He is suffering from the attachment to his own people. Okay, I am okay to kill. His words are clarifying. If you read other side of it, he can kill anyone, but my own uncle, my own great-grandfather, this does not seem right. My own cousins I will kill. He does not have a problem killing. His problem is my cousins is the problem. If you see recently, this Charlie Kirk thing happened. The father of Charlie Kirk himself turned him in. So, he is not at least suffering from the attachment at that very moment when he made a decision that, okay, he convinced his son, you should surrender. You should do the right thing. Okay? The same way, here, important thing to remember is that attachment clouds your judgment to do the right thing. In your practical life also remember, every time we make wrong, we suffer in life, 99% is because of attachment to the wrong. Attachment brings most amount of suffering. In this state, Arjun is suffering in misery because he knows these people have done so much wrong to his family, his wife, and everything else, and even to the whole world they are doing wrong constantly. Duryodhana was not a good king or a good prince, for that matter. He was never a king, but not a good prince. So, still he is trying to say, this will create so much sin for me. किसी की हत्या करना कितना बड़ा पाप है. उसको ये ख्याल अगर पाप का होता तो पहले ही नहीं आया होता. उसको पाप का कोई ख्याल नहीं. उसे सिर्फ मोह की वजह से आर्ग्यूमेंट दे रहा है. अटैचमेंट है ऐसा तो बोल नहीं सकता. अटैचमेंट है बोलेगा तो कृष्ण कहेंगे भाई छोड़. सीधा सीधा पता चल के खुद ही छोड़ देता अटैचमेंट. अटैचमेंट की वजह से वो रो रहा है। एंड अब आगे का श्लोक हम सुनते हैं, आगे कृष्ण क्या कहते हैं देखते हैं। लेट्स गो फर्दर डाउन। कैन यू रीड द श्लोक इन संस्कृत?
यद्यपयेते न पश्यन्ति लोभोपहत चेतसः कुलक्षत्रकृतं दोषं मित्रदोहे च पातकं कथं न ये